Welcome into the Danny and Albert Show. I'm the host, Danny. This is my brother, Albert. If you're new to the show, this is two South Side of Chicago guys, born and raised. We're about a year apart, and so we are very similar in so many ways, best friends. But man, our last week was our first show in a long time, and you put together a killer animation and a history lesson.
Oh, last week, right? About Pullman. Yeah, man. It's like it's so funny when we're talking about going down the rabbit hole. It's like, you don't know what they're actually about until you actually like do some research. So I learned a lot.
Yeah. Did you have a pretty good week this week?
I did. Busy. The life of an editor is always like, I always tell my friends, they crack up that I'm the lightest Mexican you'll ever see because
because like, always indoors.
No, oh man, look, I get her. I live in Glendale, which is like predominantly Armenian, but like I get that all the time. They're like, whoa, wait a minute. Like I'm Mexican and hablo español. Tomo el número 5, so.
Oh man, it's funny. Yeah, you do. So, you do. I've told you before. You do look Armenian.
I do, man. I get that all the time. So, all I need is a pack of Camels and we're good. And a BMW.
That's funny. Yeah, that's funny you say that, man. I had a little girl, a little white girl sit next to me at the park. I think it was this week. And then she started speaking Spanish to me and just, random. Didn't even ask me, are you Mexican or whatever. It's just a, hey, amigo, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, man, isn't that a little racist? But that's funny. But no,
maybe the 2 churros in your hand and the corn with the red sauce and cheese on it gave it away.
That's probably what it was. But no, nothing big this week for me. I did have, I had a follow up. I share medical stuff anyway, but I had to have follow up because, earlier in the year with COVID, when you have COVID, they one of the first things they do is they do an echocardiogram of your heart. Anyway, long story short, I had to go for a follow up this week just to make sure everything was fine, still fine. It's always nerve wracking, so I had an echocardiogram. So you got to take off your shirt, and the lady's got to put all that gel all over you and everything. So she said, and she was a cool girl. She goes, can you lay on your side? And so I was laying on my side, almost like I was doing a modeling for a calendar or something like that. And as she was doing, I go, oh yeah, this is just like my other job, modeling. And she started laughing, and I go, hey, why are you laughing?
Well, what do you mean? They have plus size models, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was about the only thing big on the calendar this week. But we got a great show planned for today. Danny and Albert, we hate to we do use a lot of comedy, but it's hard to believe that kind of shifting to a somber note, today is the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and so it's hard to believe it's been 20 years already, man. 20
That's
years.
Crazy.
It's nuts.
It is nuts. And it's always one of those moments that like the older generation were like, where were you when JFK got shot, right? And then the next one, I'm older, so the next one for us is like when the space shuttle blew up, right? And then the next one was like probably OJ. Like everyone was like, when the verdict came out, everyone knew where you were when that came out. And then the next one was 9/11. So
I don't know, for some reason, I guess maybe because of what's going on in Afghanistan. What's going on over there, what happened in the last couple of weeks, whatever you want to believe about that or what have you, we're not trying to discuss it, but it happened. So I think, and then now this is 20 years. So I think for some reason, this 9/11 is hitting a little bit harder than some of most recent ones. You know what I mean? I think it's on people's radars a little bit more.
No, I totally agree with you 100%, especially since like, the whole thing with going into Afghanistan and like that brings back 9/11, and Iraq and all that, and like, and Al-Qaeda and like, so all that is like, it's relevant now because we're exiting. And so people are, plus it's 20 years. It's hard to believe, man. You blink.
You forget a lot of the things that happen. So one of the things that my brother is just great. Albert's fabulous at what he does. If you
don't believe me,
he will tell you.
Just ask me.
He will tell you. But one of the things that he did, he put together this little tribute to kind of remind us, because again, 20 years can blink by and you've just forgotten everything. So Albert went through and took some great images and made this little tribute, and we're going to play it now and then come back and talk a little bit about 9/11. All right.
Enjoy.
Man, those are some powerful images, man. I mean, unreal, unreal.
I know when I was looking for this stuff, like, and by the way, all that's, you know, public domain. So I was like, these images, when I was scrolling through them, it's like, I mean, it's such like it's ingrained in your head, that memory, that the moment you see them, you just remember what was going on that day,
Right.
and how people actually, you remember what wasn't going on that day because no one knew what was happening.
Right.
And so and it's like, it's,
It was a
you know,
different
people
world,
forget.
it's a different
Yeah.
world, and one of the things too that's making this like really real to me right now is I'm watching a 5-part documentary on Netflix on the war on terror. And so basically what it is it takes the events of 9/11 and it kind of strings them along through the 5 episodes, and it plays off of all of those and kind of goes into what we did after that. Like we went to Iraq, we went to Afghanistan and all that, but it keeps coming back to 9/11. And I just, man, it just, I don't know what it does for you, but one of the things it does for me is when I see those images, it brings that anger of the original event, and then
Yeah.
that anger of 20 years later. Did we accomplish anything? Did we actually get?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It just kind of brings up those emotions, just being real. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's true. And I think at the time, you know, you're pretty angry because you hear, like, you know, because of the amount of lives they took, right? But also too, like, because I'm an older man and you can really think about it in perspective. My perspective is this: they killed about 3,000 people, Americans, right? When they, just mind you this, when they invaded Baghdad, they killed 100,000. 100,000, Danny. So when and they weren't all soldiers.
They weren't all
So
soldiers.
no, so let's just call it what it is. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'll tell you right now, and I've told Bethany this: if something was to happen to Bethany, if something was to happen to you, I would get probably shot by the police or spend the rest of my life in jail because that person's going to get killed. Like, I'll take them out. So if I could do that, and I live in a civilized world, you know what I mean? Not that they're not civilized. It's just like they believe, they have this ideology and they believe in all this. And not only that, their families, like if you're one of your family members get killed, yeah, you're going to strap bombs on yourself, get in a plane, you're going to do whatever, you know? So it's like, and then the thing about it is too, is like, because I did shows on 9/11, you'll start to see, if you watch these things, and hopefully they'll touch on it. You know, don't ever think the government's telling you everything. Not that I'm a conspiracy theorist, but like, you know, if they had fax machines in the 50s and we didn't actually start getting them until the 80s, military had it. GPS was around, has been around since the 60s, Danny. So like, you know, all this to say, like, they're not telling you the whole story. They knew a lot of stuff before it actually happened. You know, they knew there was going to be a second attack.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, and I get all that, but one of the things that's really in my mind watching these documentaries, and they're not telling me anything I didn't already know. You know what I mean? They're just kind of like I said, telling me stuff I already know. Is just the sheer incompetence of our leaders, man. I mean, And I'm talking about Republican, Democrat, you name them,
100%.
just incompetent, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Incompetent on how those guys came to America, how they got here, and then incompetent everything that was done after that, and the way they handled going into Iraq, going into Afghanistan, 20 years of this nonsense.
Right.
And the thing what's so funny is 20 years later, we have people that think these same people that have led us can actually get us out of problems. No. It's that's kind of an eye opener. Is just like, hey,
to get out of to get out of this whole 9/11 thing, you got to remember this. It's all about money. Like, it really is. It's about. Cheney's the devil, bro. He's the devil. So he's the first one. And I know this from working on shows
and like, I know.
So,
hey, we'll have
money.
People commenting on the show, whatever. But here's the bottom line. I agree with that, and it took me a long time.
Yeah.
To get there, because I really wanted to believe. I'm conservative by nature. I wanted to believe in those guys, but those guys were just horrible. And it didn't change when Obama and those guys got in office. It was the same incompetence on that line. All right. So we've got incompetent people trying to lead us even now during this during this pandemic and that kind of stuff. But the economy, as like, do we really think that the people that led us through 20 years of this war on terror can actually get us out of this economy?
No, man. It's crazy. Like, the thing that's nuts is like, you look at different things and stuff, and people know what they know. Like, some people don't know anything about politics. They don't know. But they know how much a can of beer costs. you know what I mean, Danny? And they know, like, I personally feel we're due for major recession. So, but oh, you got the lamb.
Yeah, I got a little interruption there, man. The lamb. He knows not to bother me during the Danny and Albert show, but he's done pretty good. But he's been hanging in there
that's awesome.
for a while. But he's cool. He's
yeah.
One of these days he'll have his own podcast. But no, it's really, we're going through a recession. It kind of scares you because you're like, we're going to talk a little bit later about this in the show, but man, you really can't count on the leaders, man. You really have to, going forward, invest in yourself and kind of figure things out, because again, I got a feeling most of those guys don't even have a clue what's going on. You know what I mean?
No. To be fair, it's it's not just this administration. It's like several administrations that have kept us in Afghanistan. You know what I mean? And like, it's all the way through. And like, I don't want to get too political, but at the same time, it's like, enough, man. Like, don't send our kids over there for what? You know what I mean?
They're not there anymore. They've been pulled out until the next time.
They need a foothold for oil.
Or the military, complex starts drumming the war, because you have look. The bottom line is, there's no wars. Defense contractors don't have jobs. They don't have right. businesses. So that plays into it. So that's a bigger conversation than just a 20-minute podcast.
It's messed with our economy.
Yeah. It's where we're at. It's gotten to the point where and that's another issue, man. It's gotten to the point where you just like to go and enjoy a little cup of coffee and a little donut. I'm like, what happened to donuts, man?
Yeah,
donuts used to be the poor man's food, man.
Well, they slap a cool name on it, put some Reese's peanut butter cups, and they charge you $10 for one.
Oh, wow.
Seriously, man.
Growing up, what would a box of donuts cost us growing up? A couple bucks, maybe.
Yeah. The thing about it is, like, because we're older, it's like we've seen things come up, and it's always like, I remember when I could get a Coke for 25 cents.
Okay.
And a candy bar was a nickel. Of course, inflation is going to go up,
No, yeah.
But at the same time, like, the running joke, one time, I have a favorite restaurant here called Modern Eats. And one time, like, and I never look at the coffee because I just want to have coffee. And then one day I was like, hey, I didn't have a coffee, but, can I get one to go? She's okay. And she's like, oh, that's $3.50. And I go, whoa. it never dawned on me that I was paying $3.50 for this coffee. So I look at him like, that's just beans and water, right? And
I
she
know,
said,
I
yeah,
know, I know.
yeah.
I mean, well, the reason why this is on my radar, and I think I kind of talked to you about it during the week, but the reason it's on my radar is I had a weak moment this week, and had a lot on my plate,
Yeah.
and so I stopped into
Hey, I know Mexican Elvis on a first name basis at Del Taco. So like him and our no, that's his nickname.
I
Mexican
know,
Elvis.
that's what's
So
funny.
and he loves me. Every time I go to the drive-thru, he's like,
He
"What do
looks
you
at you,
want?"
and goes, "Hey man, what do you want?"
Yeah, I know. And the thing about it is, what I say about LA is like, you know how like there's people that'll get you in the club. I'm like, I'll get you some free Del Taco.
Well, anyway, in a weak moment, I went into a little sugar establishment, a donut shop, and it's like, how many donuts you gonna have? Well, yeah, I'll take two, well, maybe three. So three donuts, and she puts them in a box and then brings them up to me. He goes, "That'll be $7.25." I go, for three donuts. I'm like, what happened, man? I mean, just like you said, you put a little bit of Reese's crumble on it, and
Yeah. Well, I can tell you what it is, right? Because I say this all the time. It's like, and I'm not making light of the crack epidemic, but it's like, so what a crack dealer does, to get you on the hook is they give you the first one free, the second one free. Next thing you know, you're still in your mom's microwave. So, so, so so you talk about donuts. So there's a donut shop that I go, you've been there, you've walked there with Landon. So I go in there and I like apple fritters or whatever. So I order my donut. She always gives me a free donut.
oh,
Like,
the one on
yeah.
the one on Broadway and
Yes,
and Chevy Chase.
Yes, yeah, Broadway
Yeah.
and Chevy Chase. And she goes in and she gives it to me. She gives me an
And
extra
then
donut, right?
she gives
Oh,
that
yeah.
little look to you, like,
Oh, so the other day, not the other day, it was probably a couple weeks ago. I went in there, got an apple fritter, and I didn't get that extra donut. and I looked down, I'm like, wow, I don't know if this is enough. Can I have a buttermilk too? Like that.
so the free donut thing came
Oh,
to
it's
an
crack.
end.
Yeah, it's like,
Oh,
here.
she knows you're hooked. You're
100%.
return customer. She don't have to give you any free stuff anymore.
100%.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Because see, every time I go out there, I go to that same place, and I guess she sees me as a potential client. So everything, I put free one in there for you. That's
But,
so wrong.
But that's, at the same time, the reason why those donuts are so expensive is like,
But they're not like they're in California in the little Chinese donut shops that we love so much out there. Those are
no, they are.
they are.
No. I'm like, they're cheaper than like going to like
right.
Starbucks.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, great documentary. I can't think of it, but
The
it's
Donut
all
King.
about the Donut King.
The Donut
That's
King.
our great documentary.
Yeah,
Basically tells you like, and it's not a stereotype, so don't send us email or whatever. Like a lot of what were they, Danny? Were they Filipinos? Or
No, they were
Korean?
Cambodian. Yeah.
So don't judge me and say like I'm racist, because this is a fact. Watch the Donut King. So the Cambodians, when they came here, there was a guy who basically became a gazillionaire, creating these donut shops, and he started basically franchising them.
Oh, that's a great story. If you guys are, if you want a great story, you got to see this documentary.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
Stuff, so.
yeah, no. He came here with nothing, man. I mean, he came like as a refugee,
100%.
and oh, that was great. Anyway, but yeah, they kind of kept that same. Well, they put Dunkin' Donuts out of business for many years in California.
Yeah,
because they were so cheap. And I'm kind of used. That's how I grew up. Like donuts were cheap. You get like a box for $1 or $2 or $3, but not this $22.50 for a dozen.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I can remember mom going, and I can remember like getting a donut and coffee for less than $2.
Right.
That's unheard of. Like you're paying $2 just for the donut now, possibly $3. So, but whatever.
All right.
So,
hey, well, our keys to the city segment is up. This is where Albert and I give you our little keys to life, and this kind of comes from Albert. He always says this whenever he's going to give you his little tidbit of wisdom.
But that's when I know. Like when I know, like it's like think of it this way. I've gone to the hardware store. I had the key made. I came home. You know how you check it? I checked it and it works. That's my definition of keys to the city. So what we're about to tell you right now is we're saying it's the keys to the city, but we haven't. We just kind of got the key. We looked at it. It hasn't been made yet. So we're kind of like working it out.
Yeah.
And so,
well, one of the things we've been talking about, we've been going back and forth is, okay, when you grow up in South Chicago like we did, grow up without a dad like we did, there's a lot of life lessons that you don't get taught, and one of them is investing. That's just not on anybody's radar. I mean, like literally, if you came into money, it's literally spent by the end of the day, you know, and that's kind of how we grew up.
I mean, I'll go even further. So like, you know, like I've read a lot of financial books and stuff, and I'm trying to implement them. I'm trying to get out of even though I'm a freelance, I don't work for myself. I work for other people. So I got to get into the investing mode. I got to make my money, make money. So, and here, let me tell you about the ghetto. Cause you know, we grew up hoodie rats, Danny. Like we were in poor. You never realize you're poor because everyone else around you is poor.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like pigs. They don't realize they're in crap because they're surrounded in crap all day.
Man, I love your analogies, dude. And they come right up top of the head.
Yeah, let's brown bag it. So,
okay.
So the biggest thing that like, and I tell Bethany about this all the time. One of the biggest reasons why people are poor is because of generational wealth. Like you're like, how do they have so much money? How do they obtain so much things? Well, that's because like,
and the dang communists want to end family, wealth.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is this generational wealth. We got a little from mom, very, very little, Danny, but people, when parents die, they usually have a house or they have two houses or they have property. They inherit that. They keep it, rent it, and then they buy houses, keep it. And then, so passing the wealth along, but
like I said, we didn't, that component wasn't really modeled to us. Like I said, it was a lot of it was, hey man, you better spend it today because you don't even know if you're going to be around tomorrow. It was just kind of that concept. But one of the things that we've been kind of bouncing around is, just as a disclaimer, me and Albert, we are into real estate. We do have a couple of properties that we rent. That's one lane that we are trying to generate some generational wealth for our families. And so we're not there's a lot better people out there with real estate advice and that kind of stuff. Though we can teach you how to go from zero to something because we've done it. But one of the things we're kind of exploring is Bitcoin and
right. Well, Bitcoin
or cryptocurrencies.
Yeah. Cryptocurrency. So like the thing about it is like, I've talked to people that even know about cryptocurrency and they still confuse me, but like I was talking to Danny, like, and the thing about it is like, if you study anything, stocks, wealth or whatever, by the time you catch on to a trend, it's kind of too late. You know what I mean? Because people are already, so the thing about Bitcoin and crypto, like that's really coming up now. In my opinion, it hasn't taken off. Like, yeah, it's been doing great. And it's like, but it hasn't really taken off. Like, I think you probably have one more jump like that. But,
right.
I'm also from the school of thought, like, hey, this is a big Ponzi scheme with a guy, in
Russia,
yes. Mining all these things. And then one day he's just going to be like, okay, everyone's password is deleted. But though, can you? Yeah.
Okay. So here's the thing.
Give a breakdown of what it is.
So we all have a cryptocurrency or Bitcoin story, and mine was, I was in the gig economy, working my Uber and Lyft job in Chicago, and this would have been about maybe 7 years ago, so 6-7 years ago, about 6 years ago, I think. And so a guy gets in the car, and first of all, he's brilliant. I mean, opened up a computer repair shop in downtown, downtown Chicago 30 years ago. Didn't have a clue about computer repair, but he was a business guy, knew how to hire people, and he's made a killing off of it. So he talks to me, he goes, hey man, you ever heard of Bitcoin? And I go, no. He says, you got to invest in it. And I'm like, well, I said, I've heard of it, but I don't know what it's about. He goes, it's cryptocurrency. And basically what it is there's terms like blockchain. And basically what a blockchain is, it's a computerized system that is all around the world that is a ledger that people can verify verify the transactions. So there's multiple people verifying these transactions, and their mind, it could, and computers are doing it, but it can be mined everywhere from somebody's bedroom to a warehouse. So people are getting paid in Bitcoin to verify these transactions. Anyway, that's probably oversimplistic, but he told me about it. I went home at the time. Bitcoin was like maybe $90 a coin, $80 a coin. I mean, if I'd have just taken $500 and just bought $500 worth of cryptocurrency, I mean that's well over $200,000-$300,000 right now worth of. But you don't know, you don't know. I guess the keys to the city that we're trying to get across is to our friends out there who are like us, that kind of grew up with no instruction, no direction. You can't be afraid to learn about these things. You have to learn about them.
No, you have to. And the thing about it is, I think Warren Buffett said, the great, it's the key to the city from Warren right here. Cha-ching. So what Warren Buffett said is, you should invest the most in yourself. Yourself. That's what you should. So what he meant by that is like,
yeah, there's not to cut you off, hold your thought, but there's a great guy in New York with the curly hair. I'm going to think of his name. He wrote a whole book about invest in yourself. And man, I can't think of his name off the bat. I'll think of him. But yeah, the name of the book is Investing in Yourself.
But isn't what's that? Ray Dalio, is that his name?
No.
I'm talking about him though. Is that the guy? Ray? So Ray Dalio said too. I think he said he spent $100,000 for a real estate course. Now people thought he was crazy, but with that course, he made over $1 million.
Oh my goodness!
Just learning those courses. And this is back before like YouTube and like ebooks and everyone's packaging something. So and he's making tons of money off YouTube. But invest in yourself. So like, and right now I'm trying to get back in shape. So, but I tell Bethany I probably could teach nutrition, and the reason why,
yeah,
I used to.
These are areas that weren't taught to us, right? Exactly.
Yeah, and I read everything about nutrition. I've read so much on bodybuilding. It's just a matter of implementing it, and that's the same thing.
Okay, go back to Warren Buffett. You said Warren Buffett said invest in yourself.
Warren Buffett said invest in yourself. It's the greatest investment. And what he meant by that is like, if you want to invest in stocks, learn the stock market. Go out there and learn it, because no one's just going to give you money like that.
Right.
So you have to know. The rich know all these avenues, Danny. We talk about this all the time. They know, like, I was watching Bigger Pockets the other day. And there was one guy on there saying that he's like, they all make it look like that guy, the Big Short, the guy that figured out the Big Short. They all make it look like he figured out the Big Short. He didn't. Everyone knew that they were shorting. Everyone. He's like, but the super rich knew. You know what I mean? Because they're investing all these money.
But one thing I do want to communicate to our listeners and those that join us, and we're going to build this podcast. We're going to be huge in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. But the one thing I want to communicate is this: number one, you can't look at investing as like a get rich quick scheme, because that's the way that's the ghetto mentality too. The ghetto mentality is gambler. I'm gonna get a lottery ticket. I'm gonna buy that lottery ticket and it's gonna be home. You can't look at investing that way. You can't look at that the stock market and real estate. You can't look at that as lottery tickets. You have to look at it as really as land, as fertile ground, that when you plant something, it's going to grow, and that's the way you have to look at investing. But I do want to say that, because there's a lot of you out there that you think, like, and again, giving you the keys of the city is you're going to get rich quick. Hey, I've been on the planet long enough to know 99% of everything that is get rich quick, somebody's losing, and somebody's getting over on somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think the best thing you can do is, before you start investing, is, try to get out of debt, figure out a way to get out of debt.
Oh, you should. Yeah, you shouldn't invest if you're in debt.
But even before getting out of debt is finding a job and a hustle that makes money. You can't even begin to start investing until you have a hustle, till you make some money. You know what I mean?
Well, the first thing I want to say is this: is like, if you're taking financial advice from the Danny and Albert show, you're on the wrong channel, man. Like, put down.
Hey, that's never stopped us from giving advice.
Right. Put down the marijuana and the $5 donut you bought. All right, and because let me tell you something, I'm learning with you. Like the biggest thing.
We're learning together. We're in this together.
Yes. Well, the biggest thing, the takeaway you should take is this: and it isn't. There's tons of books out there. Robert Kiyosaki's a great guy. Tony Robbins, like there's Dave Ramsey, and but the thing about it is this: the takeaway that you should take from this.
Here's the keys to the city, folks. Get the key.
No, definitely, definitely. You got to stop thinking like a payroll employee. Like I'm from the generation.
No, the key to the city was we were going to talk. The key to the city is you have to learn.
Try new things.
You have to try new things, but don't be afraid. Don't let these things scare you.
But that's the biggest fear. Here's the biggest fear: you're not going to eat. You're not going to pay your bills. But people work. You want to talk about bitterness? People work for companies for 20 years and then they get laid off. Like, where's the loyalty? Business don't care. Be loyal to yourself. Do a side hustle until that side hustle starts making you more. And eventually, what you want to do is whatever money you make, you want to take that money and make more money. Right. The richest man in
going back to the key. The key for the city tonight is don't be afraid of these things. Start learning. Pick up a book.
I was gonna say the keys to the city is Little Caesars got coupons right now.
But see, okay, you laugh about that, but here's the thing. All right. There's a reason why. Okay. We're not throwing away money on these little frivolous things because we know the value of it, right? And until you know the value of money, you're never going to have it. And so that's another key to the city. That's for another day. But don't be afraid because you're a cheapskate and you don't like spending money on this and that. Hey, that's good. But you have to pivot that and grow the money and not be afraid to learn to invest.
Dude, it's like this, okay? So I'm guilty of this. So I'm going to tell you one of my sins, okay? So I'll tell Bethy, I'm like, you don't need a new iPad. You just got that iPad last year. Because, she's definitely in that Apple mind frame where she's got to have like shiny new toys. I mean, she likes the gadgets. I mean, I like them too. So, but they're like, an iPad's like $600, bro. Like $600. And then Apple limits the memory, like whatever. She will not switch to PC. So all that to say is this, right? I'm getting on her about spending $500-$600 on an iPad. But, I'll go to a bar, I'll go to a restaurant and drop $200 at a pop. And I'll be like, here goes your tip. Hey, and man, not even worry about
we're trying to act like we're good with money.
Well, invest in alcohol then.
All right. Last up on the show tonight is, what are we going to talk about lastly?
Last we're going to talk about, like, have you ever been doing like chores around the house or like on a computer and kind of watching like a, local TV or whatever. And like a show or a movie catches your eye and you immediately stop whatever you're doing, even if you got it on the list, and you start watching either this show or this movie. So what's your guilty pleasure? What's
not just that. The other thing you said was, what is a movie like with a season that you have to watch? Like, yes. Like with,
go ahead, you.
At this time, okay, like for instance, 2 times a year, I mean, hands down, it's, I think I would be a really geek or nerd if I actually put it on my Google Calendar, but it's on my mental calendar. 2 times a year, I'm going to watch Hoosiers. It's at the beginning of basketball season when college basketball is just getting started. I'll break out Hoosiers or find it. And the week that March Madness starts, I put on Hoosiers again, and it's a given.
Yeah, I mean, like mine is like, I'm getting married in like like 8 months now. So like every time we go through some wedding thing and like, I'm getting a little flustered because like, oh, you want $5,000 for hors d'oeuvres? You know what I mean? Like, so whenever I'm getting a little flustered, I always think about John Lovitz in The Wedding Singer when he goes, he's losing his mind and I'm gaining all the benefits, So
and we have determined that you are.
You said I was. You said I was.
Greg Gulia. Greg Gulia from The Wedding Singer.
your name's gonna be Julia Gulia. But the wedding singer, like, I'm so down. I'm probably gonna watch it tonight. Like, I'm so dying to watch it just because it's hilarious because we're going through this Beth and I.
Well, there
like,
was a season, there was a stretch where back a long time ago, this I don't even, it was probably in the early 2000s maybe, but TBS and TNT had it going on like every weekend. They had, or even during the week, they had an Adam Sandler movie on,
yeah.
either The Wedding Singer or Happy Gilmore or one of those, and it was like you talk about, if it was on for some reason, you just had to watch it.
Yeah. Well, that, like, and then the other movies is my favorite movie is Forrest Gump. I don't care where it's at in the movie. If I'm walking, by a screen and I see it, like I have it on and they're just playing it like on TBS or something, I stop and I watch the rest of the movie because that movie is such a great movie. And then the other one, which I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me, is The Shawshank Redemption. That movie is just so inspiring. Like, and I see that movie and I'm just like, wow.
And
like,
I remember you used to tell me that. You used to tell me like The Shawshank Redemption is my favorite. You used to sit it like it was my favorite all time or one of those.
yeah.
And I would tell you, no, no. And then after a while, like just letting it simmer, it's now, like, I'm with you. If it's on, I don't care where it's at, I'm gonna watch it. It's really.
I mean, think of it from this point of view. Okay, name a movie that's a drama, a comedy, a love story, has great music, has I think they won 2 or 3 Academy Awards for it. Like, and then like if you watch Netflix, I just started watching the movies that made us. They show Forrest Gump. That movie was almost not made. The first script was they actually fired the writer who wrote Forrest Gump and hired a new writer to write it for the screen. I mean, it's just, the movie is just genius. Technology wise, Robert Zemeckis is amazing. And, but just look at the pacing and like, it's such a great movie.
Yeah. So yeah, that was, yeah. But then I had one that was similar. You had The Shawshank Redemption that you converted me on. Cause now like, I love that movie. And then I had one that I converted you on. And that was No Country for Old Men.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You used to hate that movie and like,
yeah, I mean, like, well, the thing about it is like, a disclaimer, nobody in production hate me for saying this, but this is truly how I felt. The Wire is one of the worst shows I've ever seen in my life. I cannot take bad acting. It is bad acting. They hire a person to play a drug dealer who in life is really a drug dealer and can't even play a drug dealer. And the reason why I say that is because it brings it up to this. Everyone in production loved No Country for Old Men. It's like, oh my God, that movie's so great, blah, blah, blah. Did you see it? I'm like, yo, I'm an editor. I get it. I watch every frame. I get it. No resolution, blah, blah, blah. This is, I get it. The monologue, the long monologue, whatever. The way the scenes are, I get it. But what happened is like, I never really settled and watched it until you kept bringing it. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to revisit this. And I started watching it and now like, Chigurh. I mean, I was Chigurh. I was Chigurh. We're gonna post.
Post that picture.
Yeah, I was literally Chigurh for Halloween.
That was that was your profile pic for.
100. Like that guy, in my opinion, that guy is. And I've watched a lot of horror films, but Chigurh is one of the most evil people. Like on camera. Like he did a brilliant job, and the fact that I look like him a little. Like done
with the wig on. It was.
I know,
great.
right?
It was great. It was so good. Yeah. Well, I mean that pretty much. I have some other ones that are, if they're on, I got to watch them. But they're everybody's favorites. Born, The Gladiator. Anytime The Godfather's on, but the Taken series, and then anytime the spaghetti westerns are on, Clint Eastwood. If it's on, like I get distracted, I gotta watch it.
Well, then also, the one thing that I've never met anyone in my life that loves The Office more than you do. Every time I call you, every time I go over and stay with you, no matter what, you'll play at least one episode of The Office, and then you always want to bring me in. Oh, come check this out. Oh, look, isn't that fun? I'm like, okay, like. What was it? You're either a Seinfeld fan or an Office fan. Like, you can't be both.
Right.
So,
All right. Hey, well, that about does it for the show tonight. I hope you enjoyed our little time together tonight. You got any closing thoughts? You good?
No, we're gonna try. We're gonna try to stick to it and do this every week. If you have any suggestions, let us know. And I hope you like our videos. Don't forget to hit subscribe, because that's the way we'll get more people, more fans, more ideas.
Yeah,
and we appreciate you.
Yeah, put some comments on there, some feedback. Put down your favorite, your go-to movie, or if it's on, you got to watch it. And we got an idea for a contest. We'll do it pretty soon. But we're going to be giving away some bottles of Heine's hot sauce, stuff that we grew up on the south side of Chicago. So we'll give that away. But until next time, yeah.
But Danny, why are you giving them away?
Because we want to lure people. Oh, we found them on Amazon.
Yeah, you found them on Amazon. You're like, you're never going to believe. Like, they got it on Amazon.
And if I could ever learn how to make lunchroom school cookies from Phil Sheridan Lunchroom, we'll give those away too, man.
They had the fingers in them. Remember that? Now that I think back, remember
that was definitely pre-COVID.
I don't even remember them wearing gloves.
Oh yeah, that was Phil Sheridan, man. Yeah, so we'll think of those things, some nostalgic things to give away. But I think Heine's hot sauce will be one of the first things that we give away to people who share the podcast. Everybody, well, thanks for joining us this week. This is the Danny and Albert Show. It's our joy to be with you for just a little bit of time and share some funny stuff and try to inspire you and teach you some ghetto wisdom. But have a good night, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks.